guys? Hope you had a great weekend. Welcome to episode number 8 of the Santana Podcast. I am Rio Santana, and in a little bit will be my father, JC Santana. What a weekend UFC 296 delivered. All right, every fight was crazy. Main event was main event, but the prelims and every fight on the main card was stacked. I'm just going to get right into it. That Josh Emmett knockout, probably one of the most violent knockouts I've ever seen. Definitely the hardest hitter in that division, maybe even pound for pound. Glad Bryce Mitchell's all good. I saw the video post-fight. He's getting everything cleared from the hospital. He's in good spirits, good health. But Josh Emmett, big problem, and that right hand came so fast and so loud, sounded like a shotgun went off. And then the Patty versus Tony fight, I was pretty surprised that they went the distance. I thought Patty was going to be able to put him away. Tony's a tough SOB, Hall of Famer for sure. But my man, I think it's time to hang him up. I thought that a couple fights ago, but now 7 in a row. Longest winning streak to longest losing streak in the UFC. I think if it was anybody else, they would have been cut 4 fights ago. But Tony, big fan, Hall of Famer for sure. Has definitely had fight of the night numerous times. Performance of the night. Cut him up with the elbows and everything. Definitely champ shit talk. I know you love that. But my man, I think it is time to go hand the torch to somebody else. You did your time, and you will definitely be an OG of the sport. Then you had Rachmaninoff versus Wonderboy. I know now post-fight that he was going in with the injury. That ankle was swollen up. Saw Henry Hoof put some pictures and videos up of it. But man, he did what nobody else has ever done and took Wonderboy down and submitted him. He was nasty. It was a nasty choke. Got it in, got it out. Done deal. Clean job. On to the next one. And then the co-main event, Pantoja versus Bryan. Man, tough guys, fast, but Pantoja's on that different level right now. And then the main event, all the shit talking was put away. The octagon was locked up. Colby and Leon. And it was like back and forth a little bit here and there. I think that time away for Colby and that time to get better for Leon was, you could definitely see it on display. Not saying Colby's old, but I mean 35 in MMA right now, especially at that top level. He is definitely at the tail end of his career. Strong cat, definitely top 3 in that weight class for sure. But Leon is just on that champ mountain right now, and he is looking good, evolving every fight. The knockout with Usman, came back, out-wrestled Usman. Then came in here and out-wrestled the wrestler again. The 2 best wrestlers in that division got out-wrestled by probably the best striker in that division, if not one of the top strikers in that division. So those are my takes on UFC 296. I know on the previous episode I put Luke and Ian in there. Unfortunately, that fight did not happen. But I definitely picked Patty. I picked Rachmaninoff, I picked Pantoja, and I actually did pick Colby. I thought he was going to get it done, so I went 1, 2, 3, 3-1 for the week. Pretty good with the bets and stuff. I didn't bet on the Emmett and Bryce fight because I think that was on the prelims, but they got moved up. And then that freaking Aldana fight versus Rosa. Female fight of the year, hands down, and top 5 of the year for sure. For sure. Top 5 fight, male or female, and top female fight, hands down. The only one that ever came close to that was Wei Li versus Joanna, and those girls delivered. Aldana, check a kick once in a while, girl, all right? I know you love to box. I know you got that Mexican blood in you, but damn, that leg was torn up. Looked like a goddamn beef stick, okay? And then the real fight happened. I don't know if you guys saw the Sean Strickland versus Plessis little screen time. And Sean turned around, gave him the whole gunshot. And Duplessis said, all right, you want to do that? Let's go right here, right now. And Sean politely, I don't know if you saw the little kid with the fro, Joshy. He's been in here several times, seen him when his hair was that thin. Gilbert Burns and Bruna Burns' son. Pedro was there as well, too. But Joshy got the prime. Hey, sir, can you move aside real quick before I jump over you and beat the crap out of this guy? And it was funny. I think that was the first time I ever saw UFC actually give airtime to a crowd fight, and the crowd fight was the fighters. So that was pretty funny. And you saw Dana White's reaction to that. What asshole was responsible for that seating assignment? This asshole right here. So he manned up. It was pretty funny to see. That fight's going to be crazy. That card is the Canada card, which has two of our boys on it, Johan and Marc-Andre. So from the beginning, I think Johan's going to be maybe 1, 2, or 3 fight of the night. And then I know Mark's probably going to be on the prelims as well, too. If any injuries happen, maybe make it to that main card, which would be pretty cool. He is a Canadian boy, so, give our man a shot to get on the main card. And then we got Plessis versus Strickland. And that's going to be a very interesting matchup. Getting closer to the fight, we will go over it. Yes, I'm not going to talk about my Steelers because there's nothing to really talk about. We suck. Again, got no quarterbacks. I'm right here, Tomlin. I'm right here, okay? And man, Najee Harris, bro, you're like 6'4", 230 pounds. Run the ball just straight, okay? But anyways, Florida Panthers pulled up a good win. They are playing this week, I think, one more time on the West Coast and then coming back to Florida. Maybe make it to a game this week to celebrate a little Christmas weekend. So we got that. What else? That episode's going to be awesome. My dad has some pretty cool topics to be going over. He's going to be recapping UFC 296 as well, too, giving you guys a little insight of what's going on with FHE and IHP, what's going on with the fighters coming up in January as well, too, and some projects coming up in 2024. So let's get right into the episode. This is episode number 8. Enjoy it.
Hey everyone, what's up? This is JC Santana coming to you from the Institute of Human Performance, bringing you the Santana Podcast with my boy Rio. I know that he probably kicked ass with that summary of UFC, but we'll go over it because he gives you the sportscaster standpoint and I may give you the old man standpoint, and it's good to have both, right? I'm sure that I'll pick up on some things that he misses and he'll pick up on everything that I miss, right? So we had a great UFC. It's rare that a UFC has just like 11 great fights. But man, this thing started from from the first one, and it was bang, bang. I think the first 4 were finishes. I mean, and then the prelims were awesome. And then the main card showed up and everybody, boom, boom, boom. And then came the one that everybody was talking about. And shit, man, what a friggin' disappointment. But you know what? However many fights, 12, 13 fights, I'll take 12 out of 13 or 11 out of 12. I'll take that all day instead of like a dead card and then give me, one fight that's Hall of Fame fight. No, I'll take 11, 12 amazing fights and then a dud at the end. Because look, from the dud, you learn a couple of things. Number one, let's talk about, I don't know if you guys, how you guys feel about it, but let's talk about what happened leading up to the fight. Look, man, I get WWE shit talking. I get selling a fight. I get what these YouTubers do to sell a fight. Okay, you want to act like a friggin' fool. You want to act like an idiot. You want to say some dumbass shit that appeals to 17, 18, 19, 20, 25-year-olds that don't have a brain. Fine. But there has to be some cutoff because it's obvious that humans cannot conduct themselves accordingly. If not, we would need the dumbass laws that we have that are still broken in spite of police. My wife is always telling me, well, do they know that there's a policy? I go, yeah, there's a policy. Well, why would you have to say anything? There's a policy because there's laws, and then you need police, and you need traffic signs, and you need signature on doors for idiots, all right, that don't understand the law, that don't have any common sense to look at it. Even still, you need judges and attorneys. Why? Because the idiots will break the law, even though they know the law, they see the law, and they know there's a consequence, they still break it. So bringing this back. So it's hard to control speech. What are you going to tell Colby? Or what are you going to tell Chael Sonnen of old? What are you going to tell all the shit talkers that do a great, Conor McGregor, that do a great job selling because they talk smack? There's been no better smack talk tour than Conor McGregor against Mayweather. That, I think, is the epitome of shit talking, not once, not for 5 minutes, on a tour. Multiple cities where he just went off and it was priceless, okay? Great, no problem. He can call them stupid, he can call them illiterate, he can tell the agents that they look like little weasels, that they're a piece of shit. He can talk to the bouncers and call them, juice monkey, juice monkey, juice monkey. Fine. But man, there's gotta be some general rule, okay, of humanity. And if not, maybe the UFC might want to not make it a rule or a law, but mention it. Hey, look, guys, no family brought in, live or dead, no families brought in. Okay, but you know what's going to happen? Somebody's going to bring in religion. Somebody's going to bring in gender. Somebody's going to bring in, whether you're gay or not, or homo, or bi, but somebody's going to bring in a real sensitive topic that makes the shit very personal. That's really not necessary, all right, to perform. When I was raising Rio, and he's a youngster and he's being affected by all of these basketball players and football players, doing all kinds of stupid ass shit, carrying guns into clubs, shooting their feet off. It's like doing some just dumbass thug shit. The one person that I always pointed to, Rio, and I said, this is an athlete, was Randy Couture. And when speaking to Randy multiple times, I said, man, I got to thank you because you helped me raise my boy. You helped me point to someone that was a third-party endorser of the principles I was talking about. And Randy Couture was that guy, Never talked about anybody's wife, never talked about anything, and whooped everybody's ass. And sometimes got his ass whooped, but he was a real sportsman, real fair guy, just a good man. And many others, George St. Pierre, Anderson Silva, Matt Hughes, all these guys, they never invoked anybody's wife, children. Okay, because you don't want to invoke, what's next? After you bring a murdered father, what's next? So what if you have a child in a wheelchair, maybe suffering from multiple, muscular dystrophy? What, are you going to invoke that shit? Are you going to tell, I'm going to fucking paralyze your ass just like your kid? Is that where we're going next? Holy shit, really? Really? Your mom is in the hospital in chemo. I'm going to put you in the hospital next to your dying mom. Is that where we're going? Because if you say, you can't bring this in, they'll bring something else. They'll bring something else, So I think we could make just a good start if, as a general rule of thumb, gentlemen and gentlewomen, sports people that are respectful, man, keep family the fuck off of this shit, man. That doesn't do you any good. Look at Colby. Talked all that shit, got his ass beat. He didn't, Colby didn't show up, but he got his ass beat. You talk so much shit. Yes, I know you're being a heel. I know you're trying to sell the fight, but it doesn't work. So you made money and you were a piece of shit. And that satisfies you? All right, man, if that's your gig. But I think the UFC should do something about that. Not controlled speech, but maybe make recommendations, strong recommendations. Maybe, I'm just saying maybe, coming from Dana White, saying, look, I'm not going to control what you say, but as a man, if you respect me as the leader of this company, as a man, I urge all of you to act morally and with principle. You can talk about each other. You can call each other pussies and whatever the hell you want. But don't bring in family into this. That's sacrilegious. Guys, don't bring religion into this. Don't bring that kind of shit, because that thing is very personal, and we don't need to have that personal edge in order to win. As a man, if you respect me, if you respect the company, I would like you to respect my very strong recommendation. I'm not for governing speech. I'm not governing. I'm not telling you what to say. I'm just telling you morally and principally where I stand, where this company stand, and you're not going to get penalized if you step out of it. So I'm not controlling you. I'm just encouraging you to be principled, to be respectful, to be better than that shit. You don't need to go there to sell the fight. Make fun of the way they look. Take McGregor versus Mayweather and make a video of that shit, the best highlights, the best roasting. Here, guys, this is an example how you bust somebody's ass, okay, without ever bringing their family into it, or religion, or race. Nothing here. McGregor wrote the PhD on that shit during that tour. Okay, so boom. So that being said, all right, we had great. Let's see, Shavkat against Stephen Boy Thompson. We knew what that was going to be like. I mean, I think he wasn't getting his rhythm, and he wanted to see what Thompson brought with the kicks and all that stuff. So you saw him come in real slow. And I said, man, if Shavkat does this, all right, with a high-ranked fighter, he's going to get demolished. But then when he got his comfort, he got into it, and then he did what he did and just freaking mauled him on the grabbing. Pantoja, holy shit, he showed up. I thought Royval had a shot at it, but man, Pantoja showed up, and when somebody shows up, they're hard. Of course, Leon, I said it. If Leon comes in sharp, striking, he beats Colby. He might knock him out. Colby was so hesitant the first 2 rounds that he lost the fight, and he could never get his timing back. Hey, you want to call it ring rust and all that shit, boom, fine. Leon is the man, and he improves with each fight. He's deceptively strong. He even out-wrestled a wrestler. So don't think that you can just wrestle, Leon just like that. No, it's not going to be just like that. You're going to have to come correct. And we thought everybody thought that Colby was going to be able to put that pace on. He did not. All right, so those were the main highlights, but the whole undercard was strong. UFC was strong. It finished off on a great note, and it was fantastic. We now have up and coming January, February, March is going to be extremely busy for us. We're right now working through December. We'll come back to you now here on the FHE segment. They are the premier drug rehabilitation and mental health experts down here in Florida, and I would dare to say possibly in the country. Not going to mention anything. As I told you before, one of our dear friends needed help. Man, I'm telling you, from the time I called the headquarters of FHE, by that time they jumped in to help. And when I say help, pick the person up. Not, hi, how are you doing? What can we do for you? No. That was done in 5 minutes. He was picked up within 2.5 hours of me having the initial conversation. The intake happened within 10 minutes of me having the initial conversation. And now I have witnessed close quarters how they work. And it's amazing. So if you guys, anybody needs a little, get right, you're having a little problem with some substance, man, FHE is the place to go. Now I am convinced of that. I always knew it, but now I lived it. I have lived it. It's a different thing when you live it. All right. So to FHE. Now, FHE brings, since they sponsor our fighters, they bring you the IHP thing on the fighters. So right now we are getting some people really strong. If you've been following Gregory Rodrigues, the transformation of his body has been insane. I know you've been seeing some of the videos that Rio's put out. Whew, this dude is shredded at 217. Shredded at 217 and strong as hell. Everybody that's wrestling with Gregory saying, what the heck? What the heck have you done to this guy? Well, guess what? He came to me and said, Papa, I don't have a fight. I want to do about 6 weeks of get big, get strong. I go, really? All right. No functional shit. No, nothing. I went, swoosh, 1974, 75. 76 at gold at Brody's gym with Felix Valdez, with George Prince, George Navarrete, Robbie Robinson, all the major bodybuilders and powerlifters of those times that were there. And that's where I learned 14, 15, 16. That's where I learned how to lift weights, and that's who I was surrounded by, like top level guys. So by 16, like I'm an expert on nutrition, training, supersets, you name any kind of training style, boom, I had it, right? So, bam, I switched over to Brody's gym mentality, shit I hadn't even done in a gazillion years. And I threw this guy through stuff that he's never been through. And this is what I explained to him. And now, so you guys, and I went through this with a elite roarer that I have here. Everything is a skill set. You think bodybuilders are just stupid big and they just lift heavy shit? No. it's a messed up sport because it's dysmorphic, it's lonely, it doesn't pay, it's brutal, it's bullshit. Okay, but the skill set that these people develop is the ability to work. It's like a friggin' Clydesdale on as a horse. The ability to drive and plow and plow and plow and plow and plow and plow all day. You go, God damn, man, that's a lot of work capacity. Bodybuilders do it. And in order to have that work capacity, you got to get through certain thresholds. And it's been the history of bodybuilding. You know, from Tom Platz repping 50 reps with over 300 pounds, all right, for the quads. They used to call him Quadzilla. You know, the Golden Eagle, man. This was not invented now. These guys could go through workouts. And it allowed me to give Gregory not only the hypertrophy, we put him on also on creatine, only the hypertrophy that he wanted and was looking for, but also to exercise his relax the face, which he did. And I'll tell you about it. Relax the face, get into the moment. This is just another rep. This is just another set. You're not going to die. No need to scream. No need to do any of that shit. And with another stimulus. So you can learn to be disciplined with one stimulus, but they throw in another stimulus and you freak out. So for example, cold temperature, cold plunge for me. It would be a challenge for me to go into cold plunge, although I can withstand higher workloads of, let's say, weight training, more than most people, because that's what I do. That's what I learned. Okay, bang, bang, bang. Now you put me in a cold plunge, which is really no effort. And for me to, it's going to be a challenge. But that would be part of a mental training type of thing, of course, and whatever you get back out of it from the physiological standpoint. But the mental training is part of it. So if you're using that for the mental training to be able to practice the neutralization of all input, you got to neutralize it. Just stay in the moment, relax your face. Stay in the moment, relax your face, keep breathing. Just, it is what it is. Whatever's in front of you, I need 5 more seconds, I need 30 more seconds, or I need to beat the shit out of this guy. I got to scramble, I got to go, whatever, I got to kick now. This is where I got to turn it up. Whatever it is, it teaches you how to how to neutralize, accept whatever's in front of you. And the more you can accept, the greater the acceptance capacity is. That is the skill set. To relax the face, that is the skill set. You have to accept. You can't love it, you can't hate it, and embrace the grind, all that shit. That we don't teach that. The opposite, accept it. Accept it with no emotional charge. So those workouts challenged the shit out of Gregory. And I said, hey. No, it's the same as a circuit. It's the same as mitt work. It's the same as a grinding session in wrestling. No, it's the same. Relax your face. And he started to relax his face, and I'm going, are you all right? Bro, can I put more weight? He goes, no, I'm dying. I go, but you didn't even move. He goes, I relaxed my face. So anyways, Gregory was kicking ass. We got Daniel Marcos tonight. I got a technical meeting with Troy and Roger down at MMA Science at 8 o'clock. So this is, if you're a strength and conditioning guy worth your salt, you get in your car, you drive half an hour. Yeah, do you think I would want to be home for dinner with my wife? You bet your ass. I don't want to go down there. But my fighter is fighting, okay, in January. Troy and Roger are his technical coaches, and I want to be part of that. So Daniel organizes a meeting before every camp, and we all say yes. Now, next one, I've been there twice. This will be my second. Okay, the next one, I'm going to ask that they show me equal respect, and they come up. Whenever it's cool for them, they come up. Whether it's 12 in the afternoon, 1 o'clock, whatever. They come up. Because I ain't nobody's dog. I ain't going to be moving, driving an hour because I'm like the dumbass strength and conditioning coach. No. I give respect. I want respect back. I give consideration. I want consideration back. That's all I want. So we're going to go down there, and Marcos has had quite, a difficult period because he made weight in November 4th in Brazil, chose mistakenly, and I come out and I told him, and I told everybody, mistakenly refused that fight. Then it was yes, no. Yes, no. It was like, So he's been dehydrated, come back. Dehydrated, come back. So mentally, and from a sympathetic standpoint, his sympathetic system has been overdriven for like 5 weeks. So we had to give him a little downtime. Let's get strong, chill, relax, don't go hard yet. Now we're ramping up. Now we're ramping up because he's going January 20th. So now we got to work through Christmas. He's not
February 10th.
February 10th. I'm sorry, February 10th. January 20th is Marc Andre in Canada. We'll talk about him in a little bit. And Johan. So we got Marcos February 10th with Gregory in the same card. So now both of those guys are ramping up. This week, camp starts. This week right here, camp starts. Power, power, endurance. Power, power, endurance. Bang. They already went through hypertrophy. They already went through strength. Gregory doesn't worry me because he was just cruising. Mentally, he was relaxing. He was just able to put out. Marcos doesn't worry me, but I have a bigger concern with Marcos because he's been through up and down, up and down. So the first thing, I had to neutralize that shit and give him time to recover while hitting him with a little bit of hypertrophy and strength. We're there now. Now, like I said, we start camp. I meet with Troy and Roger Carl, and we're going to freaking get this at MMA Science tonight. They're great coaches, and I love collaborating as a strength and conditioning coach with the technical team. I think if you're worth your salt, you do that. Then we have Marc Andre. Marc Andre is going January 20th, and his training is going really, really well. We've gone through a couple of philosophical changes. He tried. We were on 3 days a week. So this is what I want to talk to you guys about, because this is the dilemma as strength and conditioning coach, especially in MMA, but it's in other sports. This is the dilemma that we look at. He wanted to go to 2 times a week so he could do more technical and tactical training. Okay, some fighters have opted for that. And in my opinion, it's never, ever, ever turned better than 3 times a week. Why? Because when they do 3 times a week here, I don't have to beat their asses because I can go heavy on a Saturday for circuit, especially the last 4 or 5 weeks. Light on the power day, so that keeps me strong and fast, okay? And then I can do supplemental mini circuits that are like a medium to a medium heavy training session. So I can disperse. If they go to two a week, then I got the circuit and I got power. And if I combine power with mini circuits, then I'm beating the piss out of them. So I got 2 heavy ones. They throw in 2 heavy sparrings and a heavy wrestling in between, and boom, there you go. There's the overtraining. So the 3 days a week here allows us to lower the intensity, spread it out, and it takes away one of their sessions. So they're more careful on not going heavy when they would normally go heavy, and so on and so forth. So they're a little bit more careful what happens in their technical and tactical training. I want more technical and tactical and less banging sparring, because we've already shown you don't need the sparring. And I'm not against sparring. I'm against sparring abuse. Okay? So, look, this is all social media, and things get misinterpreted, or you say something gets taken out of context, which is misinterpreted, and then you get into your little gossip and shit, man. I ain't no gossip. I ain't no gossip, bitch. I'm telling you right now. When I have a disagreement with somebody, I get on the horn. I'm old-fashioned. I'll get on the horn, or I'll get on a text and say, when are we meeting? But this is going to be resolved not in a text. I don't even like to be resolved in a phone conversation, because I want to see facial expressions. And usually I want the person's undivided attention, so I like to discuss things over coffee, over breakfast, over lunch. Right here. No distractions. Okay? So that's the way I urge all you guys. Social media is easy, but it's also a venom. It could be a venom. It could be toxic. Because real men, are alpha males on, real men are real men off social media. Okay? Beta males are alphas on social media. They're alphas on the videos. They're alphas on the on the clips. They get all fucking heavy on the keyboard. But none of them invite you to a lunch to discuss shit that they're not happy about. Not one of them. Not one of them. Okay? So I urge everybody, look, misinterpretation happens. Sometimes I misspeak. I might have said something, and I go, shit, it's not like I said anything absolutely wrong, but I can't see how what I said could be taken out of context. And apparently this person did, or took a context that I did not mean, and I understand why, because I said it this way, and it's reasonable that somebody could have taken it a different way. Great. And God damn it, apologize. What is there anything bad with apologize? Bro, I didn't mean that. Yes, I said that. You know what? In retrospect, I wish I would have said it differently. God, if you want to fucking pound your chest, there's no, listen to this shit. There's no better time to pound your chest than an apology. You hear, or a clarification. That is the ultimate dick swinging move that you can make as a man. Okay? And it's what betas avoid. That's why they're not alphas, because they avoid that shit. Huh? Me? I die for apologies. I'm looking for apologies, or I'm looking to be proven wrong, because that's the time I get to push my character. That's the time I get to ingrain, to reinforce that I am a respectful and good character man, that I live on principles, that I live on the shit I talk about. That's the opportunity. That's my gold medal. That's my championship round. I'm too fucking old to do anything physically anymore, to win gold medals. But I can win gold medals in character all fucking day, the rest of my life. So I look for opportunities where I can apologize sincerely and create a better communication with another dude. Okay? Especially if they have skill and I respect them. So, those things are getting done as we speak, and hopefully everybody will understand that IHP is a place of character. We're not perfect, and when we're not, we apologize, hug everybody, and keep going. And now we're better. Now we're better. Why? Because you just took the opportunity, all right, to learn, to become vulnerable, because you're strong. You're strong. You can become vulnerable because you're strong. See? And to prove that through an apology, or, man, thank you for teaching me. I didn't know that shit. Oh, I had that wrong, bro. Thank you. No better. As I say, no better dick swinging move than that one, baby. All right. So we got Gregory, Danny, Mark. We got Jackie coming up in March, I believe. And that girl's getting so fucking strong. Holy shit, man. Holy shit. With a little bit of, she's a newcomer, with a little bit of experience and that strength. And when she starts tying in her striking and know where to fall into the jiu-jitsu, you don't have to pull that shit all the time. As a matter of fact, wrestle a little bit, strike a little bit, so they don't anticipate the jiu-jitsu, and then you just put a slick jiu-jitsu black belt move on their asses, bang. But if you're threatening jiu-jitsu, like you're sitting there and trying to pull guard and shit, they're gonna be wise to that, and they're gonna keep you standing. You gotta engage standing, do a nice wrestling, bang, 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 and then on the ground, when they least expect it, they think you're wrestling, all of a sudden, boom, they're in an arm bar, they're in a choke. That's the way. When she gets there, she's gonna be deadly. Who else we got, Rio? Oh, we got Thad coming up, right? Johan, from Canada. He is the first person that I have trained online since the Wild Man, something Danny, Thomas Denny. Thomas Denny, look him up. Something of the cage, the champion of the cage, or what was the?
Cage Warriors?
Huh?
Not Cage Warriors.
No, look him up. Thomas Denny. I remember him calling us, Coach, we won it. Thomas Denny, maybe Cage Warriors or some shit like that. But anyways, he won a world title without running, because he said, I got to run 6 miles a day. I said, no, you don't. And I remember we were sending him VHSs, all right, overnight with the workouts, because, we were doing all these weird exercises at the time. And so he goes, you sure I don't need to run? You sure I don't? How am I going to get cardio? I go, bro, we're going to put you in some circuits and some shit that's going to super, super elevate your cardio without running. So he was the first guy that I trained out, remote, with VHSs being sent overnight and without running. All right? So, and Marcus Aurelio, okay, for Zest, I think it was 2003, 2004, something like that, was the first guy I trained without sparring. And because I had the opportunity or the challenge to train Marcus Aurelio without sparring is the reason that we had to invent our MMA circuits back in early 2000s that have lasted us 20 years. Of course, they've been perfected. How we use them is different, but that's how I came up with it. And we're going to talk about the next segment about pioneers, how they failed more than they succeed.
Elite,
all right?
Elite XC.
Elite XC.
Yeah, he
All right.
became champion.
He became champion. So Thomas Denny, wherever you're at, bro, if you're listening, much love, much love. You were a turning point in my career, and we know that IHP was a turning point in yours. But all good, my man, all good.
So in January and February, we have 2 fighters on the same card, first time in IHP history. So it goes 2 and 2.
Yeah. So what is it again?
January 20th, we got 2 Canadians, Johan and Mark.
Right.
February.
Oh yeah.
Greg and Danny.
So for the first time, we're gonna have January. We're gonna have 2 Canadians on the same card, and then February we're gonna have 2 IHP fighters on the same card, and in 1 month we're gonna have 2 fighters from IHP fight Strickland fighters from the Strickland camp. So we'll see our style of training, our style of fighting, our training philosophy versus theirs. That we're gonna see. We're gonna see how that pans out in the cage, because at the end of the day, let the boys settle it. You gotta let the boys settle it in the cage. So we're looking forward to that. All right, so that was good. And now we're going to go to basically a little section. It's kind of like we listen, but it's going to be, the old man social hour. And what I want to talk about today is about how pioneers become pioneers, okay? Because everybody's like, you got to think outside the box. Well, if the box is all I know, thinking outside the box is not easy. So how can you go in a direction you don't know exists? Where's the edge of the box? So if you haven't, it's easier said than done. In other words, so a lot of times coming up with a new idea is not pushing the envelope and going outside the box. Maybe it's circling the ball. It's a little easier than going outside the box. Because why? Because look, if I know that this is a beach ball, right? I know where the beach ball is, and I can touch the beach ball and walk around it. But if I have an imaginary box with imaginary borders, and I'm going, all right, the advancement, the future, the evolution, the development is outside of these borders. I'm going, okay, can you tell me where the border is first so I know if I'm outside or inside? It's not the same thing. So if you see it this way, it's a little easier. All right. What product is this? You don't know. Okay, so if you want to see this a little bit different so you can get an answer that you currently don't have, one thing is to touch it or look at it and turn it. Keep turning it, or you walk around it. You walk around it until you go, aha, what is it? Oh, it's collagen, protein, which by the way is awesome. All right? Dr. Axe, no sponsorship. So, what's in it? Oh, collagen, what's in it? I don't know. Well, find out. Find out what's in it. How do I find out? Well, keep circling the product. Circle the product any way you want. Circle the product. Oh, that's all right. That's what's in it. Got it? So it's that easy. So pioneers. Everybody thinks pioneers are geniuses. Yeah, they're geniuses, but they don't get to genius. They don't get to the point where you consider them a genius until many have, including themselves, have considered themselves a total failure. And I'm putting a link down there so you guys can appreciate this. And we're just going to go we're just going to go here and give you some examples. Because, all right. So we have example, all right. J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling is the lady who wrote Harry Potter. So she's like, I find myself divorced with no money. Holy shit, living out of my parents' house and all this. And as a woman, imagine you got kids, your marriage doesn't work, and you have no money, you have nothing. You have failed by many standards, especially her standards. She thought that success would be a happy marriage, happy kids, happy life, happy wife, happy home. Yay, okay, and then maybe a career, fine, but the standard, what society, what her parents would think would be a success, because she wants to make her parents proud. So she ends up writing out of the desperation and pain and disappointment of her failures. All right, there's where the evolution. If you want a big comeback, there has to be a major failure, Because how are you going to measure the comeback? The comeback is almost directly the same size as the whole of the depression, the whole of the failure. Just to come back to neutral, the comeback has to be huge. And then sometimes it's superseded and boom. But the initial, what takes that rocket and points it in the direction of the heavens, is the fuel of the comeback. So without major failures, I dare you to find a major pioneer. Okay? So she said it. And, if you can go to the link, she goes, I had failed on an epic scale. An exceptional short-lived marriage had imploded. I was jobless, lone parent, and as poor as it could be possible, okay? Without being homeless. As poor as you could get without being homeless. The fears that many parents had for me, they would come to pass, right? And eventually, every usual standard, by every usual standard, I had been a failure. It was the biggest failure I knew. Biggest failure she knew. The rest is history. Steve Jobs, man. This dude was fired from every company that he started. Every company that he started. He failed on 2 or 3 projects at major scales, millions and millions and millions of dollars. Apple, the rest is history, right? One more. Bill Gates, right? Bill Gates, as a Harvard dropout. Now you know why. He co-owned businesses called Traf O'Data, which was a true failure. Millions of dollars, okay? However, skill and a passion for computer programming turned his failure into pioneer, famous for the software company of Microsoft, okay? So it's fine to celebrate success, but it is more important to heed the lessons of failure. That's his, and on and on. Oh, wait a minute, one more, my favorite. Albert Einstein. God, I love this guy. Okay? He says, he was set back and got dropped, got thrown out of, got refused for admittance into, for example, Zurich Polytech School. He wasn't even admitted. Okay, this is a guy who the dude is just insane. Of course, his mental capacity, but he says success is failure in progress. All right? So, you're a personal trainer, you're a coach, or you're just listening. What does this mean to you? Listen, you can have a failure in business and be a genius in art, okay? You can be a failure in school and be a genius, super high IQ socially. So you can go out there and do things that require the interdependence of people because you have people skills. You might not have learning at university skills, but you have people skills. And before you know it, you start a company or you start a marketing campaign or something like that, where you can leverage your relationship with people and the ability to inspire and motivate them. Okay, boom, the ability to negotiate. So the ability to influence. I was talking to my wife, I said, if you had technical skills, and the skill of persuasion, that's the word I use, persuasion. I said, I will take persuasion all fucking day long. You can keep your PhD, because these people hire PhDs to do the technical and tactical shit. You need to be an attorney so you can be an underwriter in a high risk money return endeavor. You hire the PhD for $250,000. Easy day. But you have to have the ability to persuade. That means you sit across somebody and you find a way to negotiate, hopefully closer to your end of ideal. It has to be win-win. So your ability to persuade to get a win-win, where both win. And if you can be 50-50 and that 50 is huge, by all means, but you try to persuade them to your side, all right? Because you know that your side will make you both money. He may be too stupid to know. You have to persuade him. So she goes, no, technical skills can be hired. Persuasion is hard to hire. Those people are usually in higher power positions because power comes from persuasion, okay? Then when you have the money, then you can persuade. When you persuade, the money is like this. Then with the money, you can reign power in other ways, okay? So you can see that the ability to overcome failures is directly proportional to the genius, all right, that you can put on something, that the genius you can express. Everybody has a genius. Your genius may be counting rocks. I don't give a shit. So your genius doesn't have to be, oh, he's got the skills to learn so he can go to Harvard. No. Damn, Gates was a Harvard dropout. He's like, fuck this shit. I'm going to come out of here with a 4-year degree and do what? No, I know what I need to do. Bang. Steve Jobs, bang. All right. All of these people out of here on high-level learning because they found their skill. Now, once you find your skill, counting rocks, organizing dirt, you understand what I'm saying? It could be anything. It could be anything. You can take organizing dirt and turn it into a sand company. Sand company. Got it? So you're up there near the Keys. When you drive to the Keys here in Florida, you'll see mounds of sand. Mounds of sand so they can make cement. All right? Somebody came up with that shit. What do? Huh? They filter dirt. They organize dirt. They separate dirt. They classify dirt. Their billions of dollars are made with dirt. So don't tell me, all right, that you need some high-level shit. No, you take some simple shit and take it to a high level, and that's fueled with passion. You have to have passion for what you're doing. That's why I tell people, don't chase the money. Chase your passion, because you will find a way to make millions with dirt. Sand companies, cement companies, brick companies. They take that sand and they convert it into 20 different things. Without those things, there is no construction. So I'm not exaggerating when I say classifying or separating, filtering dirt. I'm being very, very literal. All right, so find your passion. Find your passion. And don't be afraid of failures. Failure is success in progress, okay? You have to have the failures so you can check mark, nope, this is not where I'm gonna go, this is not where I'm gonna go, this is not where I'm gonna go. With every failure, you're getting in closer to the lane where you need to be. But you need those failures. Those are your bumpers, your bumpers. And they're gonna get here, here, until you're right where you need to be. The failures is what gets you in line. The failure is your bumpers. Those are the failures. Don't be afraid of them. Don't be afraid of them. Every major millionaire has lost millions before. Every single one. As a matter of fact, I got a millionaire client that says, you're not a millionaire until you've lost millions. I'm going, holy shit, talk about failures. All right, so, all right, now we are in the We Listen segment, okay? And this is where you guys chime in and we urge you guys, give us ideas if you're digging the podcast. And look, we're new into this, we're taking our time. We're going to show you we're going to be here for a while, okay? Rio came up with this project. He loves this. I love the fact that he loves it. He's got a passion for it. And you know me, I got a passion for sharing ideas. I got a passion for moving society. We got to move it. And I have a passion for my industry. I love it. I'm being in my industry till I die. I don't foresee the time where I will sell everything and not do fitness and not do motivational or society-changing work. Let's put it that way. It could be motivation. It could be analysis. It could be, hey, man, we got to rise as a people. We have to rise. We're letting our legacy go down the shitter. And, we'll have more of that when we get to that social segment that we're going to start. So we had a couple of questions from the audience. Okay, thoughts on stretching before or after a workout? This is a great topic. Because, look, we've done this, okay? And I could talk on this shit for an hour. I've done presentations on stretching for an hour, and it's not even enough time. But let's look at it this way. Here's my history on stretching. I started with martial arts, Kung Fu, at 12. So I was a big stretch proponent. Stretch. Then I went into karate. Then I went into wrestling. Then I went into judo and jiu-jitsu. Then I went back into kickboxing. Then I went back into judo and Olympic weightlifting. So that's kind of been my shit, right? So I was a guy that was raised on martial arts, stretch. But I didn't even notice it. But during my transitions from one sport to another, and especially when I went from karate point fighting, okay, even at the full contact black belt level, which I did one, I think it was, but that was it. 2, kickboxing, because I was promoted to a black belt in a locker room. Why? Because there were ISKA, I think, International Society of Kickboxing, some shit. Yeah, ISKA. Well, anyways, the Professional Kickboxing Association of the time, which was late 70s. Yeah, late 70s. We went from karate training, which if you go into a karate dojo, you do stretching. That's the shit that you do. And so you do your stretching. But when you start going into kickboxing, you don't go into the karate dojo anymore. You go into a boxing gym because they have rings. Okay. So when you go into a boxing gym, stretching is not that. You've never seen guys stretch before. They skip rope and shit. No, they tape up, boom, boom, boom. They start skipping rope. They shadow box, blah, blah, blah. Maybe hit the bag, maybe hit the speed bag. They do a little sparring maybe, or they do mid work and boom, they're out. Okay. So they don't spend, 10, 15 minutes doing splits and all this shit. So I found that after a year of kickboxing, I hadn't stretched. And I was still kicking people in the head. And I could snap my foot up high, boom, 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 and then go back to the Bill Wallace, stretch machine and get up to 155, 160, which is where I capped out because I never did the 180. I could never do that shit like Bill Wallace. But my 160 ended up with 2 hip replacements. His 190, which was more than 180, all right, ended up in 2 hip replacements. So I found out that I did need to stretch from a performance standpoint if I did the activity. So if I was kicking high, I maintained the ability to kick high. I didn't lose anything because I didn't stretch. So I said, well, as long as you do the activity and practice the activity, you don't need additional stretching, especially when you're young. And that seemed to be true. So I said, stretching is useless. All right, cool. Then I kept it there. Functional training rolled around. And what did functional training do? They trained the functional ranges of motion. So that even reinforced the stretching is bullshit, not needed. Not before, not during. Okay. Then I rehabilitated one of my hips and we used a special type of stretching that we invented here, which is almost kind of like a PNF, but more dynamic and more pulsing. Hold, pulse, 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 hold, pulse, 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 hold, pull, and then full range. So it's essentially manual resistance training to full range of motion, or the motion you're trying to pick up, which is basically one of the ideas of functional training. Train the functional range of motion so you don't have to stretch. So I'm saying, okay, but we are using stretching. How come it worked? And then it hit me. If the standing environment, gravity, the dynamic aspect of the operational environment doesn't allow you to get to the functional range of motion. For example, I blow a hamstring. I can't do an anterior reach. Even if it's a staggered stance anterior reach, not a single leg, I can't, because as soon as I bend my body over, the mass of my upper body is going to be too much for the hamstring to handle. Then I can't technically use functional range of motion, because in the movement of function, in the functional movement, which is standing and flexed, it can't take it. So that would be a great opportunity to lay the person down and go manually, go easy, and instead of applying, say, 30, 40, 50 pounds that my upper body mass would apply to the hamstring, maybe with my hand I can go 5, I can go 10, and I can play with the range of motion less than the functional position loads. Got it? So I'm going, wait a minute, then I have to change my mind about stretching. Stretching is extremely useful, but how can I put that in context? Well, here's the context. Manual stretching is resistance training. It's just resistance training at the pressure that I put on the hand. Well, when would that be useful? Well, and I can't do that in a functional position because the functional position overloads the tissue. Then I can put the person in an unfunctional or dysfunctional position, if there's such a thing, or a position that's not understood as functional, which is on your back, on a bench with me holding. There's nothing functional about that shit, but it is needed, that artificial position, and this artificial loading is needed because it can't take the functional loading. There you have it. So I said, okay, so I can't say stretching sucks. Okay, so then what else? So I started looking at the pre-event stretching. I'm going, all right, pre-event stretching. Does that work? And I started looking at that during a Canelo fight. I think Canelo was fighting Triple G, and they were following him, when he walks into the arena, and in between the previous fights, they put him, and he's doing flexibility. And Canelo is flexible like a karate guy. Canelo can be up against the wall, and his coach can put one of his legs on top of the shoulder and come up. And his leg is like that. Not 180, but goddamn close. And he's doing static stretching for like 20 minutes. I'm going, Canelo's doing static stretching for 20 minutes. Doesn't he know that that's going to hurt his performance? And he went out there and beat the shit out of Triple G, right? I was like, shit, something's up. And I realized that Canelo is doing stretching 2 hours before he steps in the ring or before he throws his first punch. And I'm going, well, shit. We know that the flexibility benefits of functional flexibility, of static stretching, leave you in about 25, 30 minutes. If you don't use that range of motion, it's bye-bye, okay? Especially under the speed and load that you want to use it in. So I'm going, well, wait a minute. Why would they do something, lose the effect window by an hour and a half, and still do it? What kind of shit is that? And then it hit me. Stretching in that application is part of the ritual of getting ready. Why? Because it's 20 minutes where he's not looking at the fights. He's not getting all amped up looking at the fights, looking at one of his stablemates fight, get knocked down. He doesn't, and it's a way, it's flexibility, especially when done an hour and a half before the event, is a ritual to keep your sympathetic system down, to avoid the adrenaline dump, or at least reduce it. And I'm going, holy shit, stretching has a whole different other aspect, all right? And then I looked at the studies. Okay, so why do the studies show that it's bad for you? Because the studies stretch the shit out of the muscle and immediately contract it, when the muscle is already neurologically inhibited and drunk out of the overstretched thing. So even the research is shit. The research on stretching is purely shit. Read it. They stretch and immediately contract. That's never used like that. Stretching has never been used that way. And we're never going to study a protocol, because when you stretch for performance, it's usually a combination of dynamic, 2 or 3 seconds, dynamic, 2 or 3 seconds movement. Okay? Study that protocol. Compare it against 30 seconds. Compare it against a minute. Study that protocol. Okay, how many times are you going to shake it? 2, 3, 4, or 5 times. How many seconds are you going to hold it? 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. How many times are you going to do it? You're never going to study it. So when all these people talk about science and science and science, every time somebody says science, I go, you know what? You're one person that doesn't even know science. Because if you knew the scientific method, if you knew anything about the scientific method and what is required to control confounding variables, you would know that this shit can't be studied. And it can't be studied the way we use it. All right? So shut the fuck up and get to work and stop reading some bullshit science. Just saying. All right, so let's see what else we got here going. How's your health journey going? Great. The IVs are awesome. I got my 90-year-old mom now doing IVs of, B's, minerals, amino acids, folic acid, and glutathione. Even her primary said, those would. She's got a little bit of kidney issues at 90s. We gave her oral NAD and Niami, a thing to work with her meridians, because he's into Chinese medicine. We did that for two months and nothing happened. He goes, try your it's not going to hurt her. It can only help her. So mom already did 1 session of glutathione and the major IV. Let's see. I'm doing great. I feel fucking awesome. I'm strong as fuck. I'm up to like 227. I need to drop a little bit, but I look better at 227 than I did at 217. My abs are the same, 218. Abs are the same, but I'm much bigger. Not that I want it. It's just that's the way it happened. One thing I can tell you is this gives you energy and this gives you performance, but maybe without this, I would be total mess. But I can tell you that when I go hard 3 straight days, and I can do the same workout 3 straight days, chest, but by Thursday, I'm hurting. and I don't have anything left really the rest of the week. I'll work out, but it's like, and I'm trying to look for other body parts or other angles to hit my body because it's too much. Now, it may be too much. If I was doing that in my 30s, it might have been too much. But I can tell you that my mind and body under these things here can push harder than my body can recover. And maybe it's too much. Maybe I'm just doing some stupid shit because sometimes I'll do chest or legs or back 3 straight days in a row, and that's not the smartest thing to do either. Now, I don't kill it. I do 5 or 6 sets, but they're hard, so I might not be recovering. That's number one. Today, I have my my CAT scan of my kidneys. So this is going to be very interesting because when I was in the hospital 8-9 weeks ago, the CAT scan showed that I had 2 huge boulders in my left kidney, 6 millimeters, all right? So I've been on this supplement, 2 supplements to crush, which I didn't know, to dissolve kidney stones. I didn't know that they could be dissolved. And apparently these things go after the calcium oxalate. And apparently that oxalate is the crystal that binds uric acid or calcium together. That oxalate is the motherfucker. So I've been taking one thing for now 2.5 months that supposedly all the reviews say it demolishes the kidney stones. I mean, it eliminates them. We'll find out. If they're smaller, then it's working. And it's called Stone Breaker. And the main ingredient to dissolve uric acid or kidney stones is cancha piedra. Chanca piedra, which means in Latin, stone breaker. All right? So I've been on that, and I started on another one called Kidney Cop. So any of you suffering from kidney stones, Kidney Cop, if you have this genetic predisposition to create a lot of oxalate, okay, that is what starts the shit. So Kidney Cop apparently binds the oxalate or prevents you from making it. So I'm on 2 things, and today at 3:30 we're gonna find out if they work. But I can tell you, all the symptoms that I had, pressure here, this, that, they're all gone. They're all gone. So that glutathione, NAD, plus the Bs and the folic acid and the minerals and the amino acids, once a week, and in a couple of occasions I did two a week to saturate. Phenomenal. So I'm feeling great, and I highly recommend you look into IVs. The one who got me started thinking about this was Gary Brecka. I haven't talked to Gary Brecka. I've seen a couple of his things, It's not like he's my guru or anything like that, but he got me thinking about, if you genetically don't make certain things that are needed, all right? So certain compounds can be used by the body. If you supplement that, magical shit's gonna happen. So I'm thinking that these IVs that I took might have had some kind of compound that I was short on and I didn't know. I wasn't showing any symptoms, but maybe I was short on and I didn't have the ability to convert certain things to a therapeutic dose of another thing that I needed. So if that happens, boom, the IVs are working. Now, was it the Bs? Was it the folic acid? Was it the mineral blend? Was it the amino blend? Was it the glutathione? Don't know. But I don't give a shit. I'm not going to ask what it is. I'm not going to run a scientific experiment to see what component. I'm just going to keep doing the IVs once a week. And if I can drop to once every 2 weeks, that would be nice on my pocket because these things cost a lot of money. All right. But I am committed to, at 65 in June, when I turn 65, everybody's going to be able to say, this is the best you have felt, you have looked. This is the best blood work with the less drugs, okay, that you have had since you were 40. That's my goal. If it's before I was 50, then great. But that's my goal. Get off of maximum amount of medications, look and feel better than I did when I was 40. If I can do that, mission accomplished. All right? So, I think we have one more. Come on. What was challenging personally in business? What was challenging this year? Oh, shit. The biggest challenge I had this year was my health. My health. Being septic. I've never been in a hospital for 5 days, ever. And I felt like shit. But you know what? The doctor said I was close to death, like 2 days away. It never felt like I was close to death. It just felt like I didn't feel good. I was in, when I had COVID and I had pancreatitis, I was in the hospital for, I think, 3 days. But this was 5 days, man. This was absolute bullshit. and I wasn't close to dying. I beat COVID. It's the pancreatitis that I didn't feel good. I would have probably beaten it, but my doctor said, go and get yourself admitted and checked. They're going to do everything. So they found out that I had pancreatitis, and thank God they did, because you can die from that shit. So both times that I've decided to go to the emergency room and get checked in, both times it panned out because it could have been really, really bad. But this septic shit, this can kill you in hours. Pancreatitis takes a little bit longer, I'm sure, and it's easier to come back from. You can just go on a liquid diet, and usually you come back from pancreatitis if you're healthy. But sepsis, nah. If you don't get the right antibiotics, because I went through 2 drips. The first drip didn't even touch it. I was blowing fevers in the hospital for 2 days. So the infectious disease doctor said, all right, now we're going to take the gloves off. And he put me on a big dose of a stronger, and that one took the temperature out and got it. So if you don't do that shit, you die. You friggin' die. But if I was close to death, I didn't feel it. I always said, I just don't feel good. Just let's get this done and get me out of here. And so that was definitely the biggest challenge of this year. Also, to try to get Rio to move past the level where he was at in terms of managing IHP, that wasn't a challenge to me, because it wasn't difficult. It's because he's willing. The thing is, can I phrase it correctly so he understands? And sometimes you say something just in passing, and the person that you're talking to, that you're trying to inspire, that you're trying to persuade, okay, persuasion, says, you know what, when you said that shit clicked. And it's something that you said that you go, well, I'm just going to say it. It's a good comparison, but they said, that shit clicked. And what I told Rio was, you remember when you did your 10 and 4, your 10 pounds in 4 weeks, and you got a whiff of what it was to go from 250 to 235, because he lost more than 10 in a month. I said, remember that? And then you go, those are not the abs I want. I said, no, you're going to have to go down to 210. So he went to 220 and 210, and he still was like, Dad, I got abs, but not the ones I want. I go, shit, it looks like you're going to have to go below 200. And he did. And he's now close to 190. I said, how did you get there? I said, you fucking had a hard-on for that shit. Every fucking morning you were weighing in. Every night you were weighing in. Before you put something in your mouth, you said, how is this going to help? How is this going to hurt? And you made decisions because that shit was on your fucking mind 24/7, right? I said, make IHP that. That's your new 10 and 4. You got to be checking the bank account every morning, every night. You got to go, God damn it, why is the money not there? What do I have to do? And you got to pick up that piece of paper that nobody sees, that you think nobody's going to see, that you're in a hurry, and you're like, oh shit, that ain't going to change. No, pick up that goddamn piece of paper, because that's your life. If you don't pick up that piece of paper, you're not going to make the phone calls. You're not going to make the meetings. You're not going to do the shit you need to do. And so that hit him. And ever since then, he got a board, and I've been on him to get a list going. I go, if you don't have a list, you're going to forget shit. Okay? You're going to forget shit. I have multiple lists because I use my calendar as a list. I have another list in my notes. Okay? And I'm good with organizing. He's not there yet. I developed my organizational skills at about his age. I went back to school at 32 or 33. Okay? And then I learned high-level organizing now that I had life wisdom, right? Boom, and then 4-0'd the rest of my courses and kicked ass. So now I told him, you're in the zone right now. A man 35 to 45, that's money earning decade right there. Yeah, you can push it a little bit on both sides, but that is typical. 90% of men at 35 to 45 will fucking bang. Very few will have double bangs, where they have that first bang, then they have a lull, they fucked up, shit didn't go their way, and then they have another bang at 60. That's going to be me. I'm going to have 2 bangs, okay? But trust me when I tell you, when I was your age, I was writing. That's how I got to 18 books. You know, that's how I opened IHP, and everything was happening at the same time while I had 4 kids. So I was like, ugh. I said, you need to be there now. If you can't find that goddamn energy now, you'll never find it. I told him, I said, you have the first chance. You have the first chance to be the first one in our family, okay, to be a millionaire before you're 40, all right? You've got IHP. You have me. You have everything you need. You have your ability, because he's having uncanny ability for editing, art, and social media. You have all this shit. Okay, I didn't have social media coming up. Okay, I had to do everything with 18 books and 50, 30 trips around the world. That's how I did it, the hard way. And COVID, boom, took the international gig from me like that. 300,000 out the fucking door. All right? You may develop monster business in TikTok, and in 5 years they take that shit from you because of the Chinese influence. Then what? Then what? So you gotta fucking think. And so my health was a challenge. Rio's wasn't a challenge, but it's probably my favorite of all is to see Rio this year. He took off. And I'm dying to see what's gonna happen next year. So we're super excited for 2024 because 2023 was a record year at IHP. Record year at IHP. And it's because I've done my job and Rio starting to do his job. I mean, he's done his job, but he's starting to do the job that he needs to at the level he needs to. And he's not even there yet. He's at a 7 out of 10 right now, 6 out of 10. But he came from 4. He came from 4 to 6. Shit, that's 50% output increase. If he does another 50, he goes to 9. So as the higher you get, the smaller the increments. So if he's at a 6 right now, if he can get to 7 next year and 8 the year after that, shit's over. All right? So that's all for me. Rio will wrap it up. I love you guys, and I will see you next week on the Santana Podcast.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. JC's done. It was kind of easy this week. He was in a good mood. And I know last episode, he said he was going to come over and fish and everything. Florida had this like little semi-tropical storm come through, so there was no fishing. But we had an awesome time at my crib. My girl did an amazing job. We had some friends, we had some family over. Lily got to see her grandfather as well too, so everybody was chilling. We sat there from about 6:30 all the way to almost like 1 o'clock in the morning. And we just laughed a lot, ate a lot. Okay, so I got to get a workout in today, maybe 2 or 3 to burn off some of that stuff. But yeah, guys, I think we are dark for the rest of the year when it comes to UFC. The next UFC is January 13th, my birthday. That's a fight night, and then January 20th is the big one in Canada. So we will see you guys next Tuesday. But next Monday is Christmas. We want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas. We will see you before the New Year's. But this year has been an absolute freaking barn burner. A lot of good, not even a lot of bad, just a lot of challenging moments, which develops people to become better. I know I have. Dad and I sat down and we had a real good father to son talk about the business and personal. And, you know, ever since then, it's definitely lit a fire underneath my ass in a good way, in a very, very, very good way. You get to that age where, you know, in the beginning, when your parents are talking to you, when you're like in the teens or early 20s, you're just like, it's in one ear, out the other, or you're just pretending to listen. And then you get to about that 29, 30, mid 30s, and you take it in, you know. So it's one of those things where anything that he says, or especially my mom as well too, or anybody, friends, families, or anything like that, you want to listen. You don't want to take anything personal. Just let it come in. Let it come in. Understand it's coming from a good place in their heart. And anytime that you give advice as well too, you know, don't always tell people and be the yes man or the yes woman. Yes, you do. No, give them some real stuff. If they need to be pushed a little bit to the right, you push them to the right. If they need to be pushed a little bit left, or just keep them there, you know, give it to them. Give them good quality information, good quality tips, good quality advice. And that's what my parents have always done for me for the past 32 years, almost 33. And I can't thank them enough for it. So for this holidays, you know, it's a little bit different. We're all going to be sort of kind of like separated, okay? But we are super excited to be looking for our family trip in the beginning of January. So it's like a Christmas, New Year's, and my birthday trip with all my siblings. I haven't been with my siblings on a trip like that for, 15 years. So it's going to be super excited to see them. My little sister's going off to the Armed Forces in February, so we're going to do a family reunion as well too before that. But so between December and February, we're going to see a lot of family, a lot of friends, and I want to be able to make it more of a regular thing, not just to get together because Christmas or gifts are involved, but you know, to show appreciation and to show people that they have someone there for them and a support system and a family. If you have it, man, do not ponder it away. Do not let it just go over the shoulder. Oh, I'll do it next week. I'll do it next week. Make that phone call. Send that message. Send a FaceTime call. Anything like that. It goes a long, long way. So again, I know I kept you guys here a little bit longer this week, but I want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas once again. And if I don't see you next week, if you're too damn busy, we will see you in 2024, but we will be back here next Tuesday, okay? But I know you guys have Christmas. I know you guys are going on vacation. I know you guys are going to be a little bit of traveling, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So we wish you guys a happy holiday season, and we're going to keep on rocking this shit until the wheels fall off, which they're never going to fall off. All right, guys, have a great week.